Who doesn't love Star Wars? It's now practically a part of every generation's childhood. And if you don't like it, tough luck, because Disney aren't going to give you much choice in the matter. They're going to keep ramming Baby Yoda down your throats whether you like it or not. Sorry, I mean, the child. Wait, no. Grogu. Who came up with that? Whether you grew up with the original trilogy, the prequels, or The Mandalorian, Star Wars most likely had an impact on you in some way or another. Wait, what was that? Disney didn't just make The Mandalorian. There have been other new Star Wars movies. I better go watch these.
Rey Skywalker.
It's safe to say Star Wars doesn't exactly have the cleanest track record in film. For every Han Solo there's a Jar Jar Binks, every Obi-Wan there's a Dexter Jettster.
Wow! What do you know?
I'm kidding, I love Dexter Jettster. Or for every Tatooine there's another planet that is basically Tatooine again.
Wait a minute, how did this happen? We're smarter than this.
George Lucas is quite the pioneer in storytelling. However, he did have a tendency for making pretty baffling decisions.
Jar Jar is a key to all this, because he's a funnier character than we've ever had in any of the movies before.
But every now and then, he would get something right. And it's not just his salad reviews.
Okay, what we have here is Organic Girl's new 50-50 spring mix and baby spinach blend.
LucasArts was a division within the Lucas Empire that specialized in creating interactive media. Unfortunately, since the Disney buyout, they no longer exist. But back in the day, they used to pump out some quality games. They first specialized in point-and-click titles like Monkey Island and Maniac Mansion, but later moved into a variety of genres, with most falling under the Star Wars license. Dark Forces, Bounty Hunter, Republic Commando, Super Bombard Racing. This has George written all over it. Most of these games rocked, and LucasArts just kept on pumping them out. Star Wars games were becoming just as popular as the movies. In fact, some would argue that the games were better than the films of the time. It was a great period to be a Star Wars fan. Just if you ignore that. One thing I loved about this era of Star Wars was its push for multimedia tie-ins. I love it when my McDonald's Happy Meal can go with my Darth Maul jigsaw puzzle. In 1996, Lucasfilm unveiled Shadows of the Empire, which was set to be a new arc of stories told within the universe that cross over through various media such as books, comics, toys, and of course, video games. Now, whilst I don't think Shadows of the Empire particularly holds up well, it was still a very well executed idea and laid the groundwork for future crossovers like this. Which brings me to... Force Unleashed was Lucas's next transmedia project. Set after the events of The Revenge of the Sith, this story followed Starkiller, Darth Vader's secret apprentice, who would turn on his master and was a key player in the formation of the rebellion against the Empire. Essentially, this was the next big venture in the franchise after the prequel films, and for most fans was a breath of fresh air, as it was set just before the original trilogy and featured a lot of its iconography. It was the perfect bridge between these two trilogies, featuring iconic characters like Darth Vader, the Emperor, Leia, and lots of stormtroopers that you can incinerate, whilst also bringing with it some of the over-the-top space wizard action from the prequels, as well as some familiar faces from the Republic. But there is a big but to all of this. It's no longer canon. Which is a crying shame, because as a kid, I was obsessed with this game. I had the books, the comics, the Lego set, and oh boy did I want those action figures. Seriously, Dad, you should have got me these when they were on sale at Toys R Us. Literally worth a small fortune now, you big buffoon. So I thought it'd be cool to return to Starkiller's journey and see if it's as good as I remember, or if it's just one of those nostalgia things.
So love has blinded you.
Please shut up, Padme. Hey, George, did no one proofread this here script? Like, seriously, what is she talking about?
Of course, there's a lot of cheating in there. A lot of they fight.
Okay, guys, without further ado, let's find out if it's still awesome. The Force Unleashed game was released in 2008 for multiple platforms. I will be playing the PS3 version, as both that and the 360 copy were essentially the proper game and the one I'm familiar with. Ports were made for the PlayStation 2, Wii, and various handhelds. The Wii and PS2 version is actually an entirely separate game that does follow the same plot and features the same locations with some slight differences here and there, but I never played it. If you liked this version and think it's worth my time, then please let me know down in the comments and maybe I'll check it out. Also, spoiler warning, I will discuss the entire plot of this game as I have some opinions on it. Plus it ain't canon, so who cares? Let's just chuck all this great stuff in the bin, shall we, Kathleen? The story begins with probably one of the coolest opening levels to a game ever. Darth Vader flies down to Kashyyyk, this is the Wookiee planet, and you basically get to play as him and just completely annihilate anyone in your path. Stormtrooper, Wookiee, I don't care, you're getting chucked off this bridge, mate. This opening mission essentially shows you the basics of the game. You have your standard lightsaber attacks, your force push, grip, repulse, and lightsaber throws. The melee combat is nothing to write home about, but the force powers are something else, oh my god. This is the peak of ragdoll physics, everyone. Being able to pick up anything and just chuck it around literally makes me tear up. It is that fun to do. These abilities are pretty overpowered and make the lightsaber a bit redundant, but this is a game that's less about challenge and more about just looking like a bad ass. Although Darth Vader can't run for some reason, and he jumps like this. Yeesh, this dude has a bad history of jumping. Vader is here to hunt down any remaining Jedi, and surely enough, there happens to be one hiding here. You quickly use him like a battering ram and finish him off. But before Vader leaves, he encounters a small boy who is powerful with the Force. Swiftly, before his men try to execute the boy, Vader cuts through them like younglings and takes the boy with him to train as his secret apprentice. Cut to a few years later, and the apprentice has now grown up and sets out on his first mission to eliminate the Jedi Master Ram Kota. Although Vader makes it clear to his apprentice that he must leave no witnesses, as the Emperor cannot know of his existence. Before moving on, I want to mention the outstanding facial capture job Lucasfilm did with the actor Sam Witwer. Sam does an awesome job playing Starkiller. I love the evolution of his voice throughout the game. When around Vader, he does this Sith accent.
My master, Kasdan Paratus, is dead.
Sith accent is that a thing? I don't know. But when he lets his guard down, he just sounds like a normal dude.
Let's hope so. I'm sick of training new pilots. What have you done to my ship?
Which goes to show how much of a facade the whole evil thing is for him. Also, Witwer voices the Emperor here, and absolutely smashes it.
You have betrayed me. Now you will kill him.
Because he did such a great job, he actually went on to voice the Emperor in the Clone Wars animated series, as well as Darth Maul. Just before the mission, we are introduced to Starkiller's pilot, Juno Eclipse, and the comic relief droid, there's always one, Proxy. It's a really strong cast of characters, but unfortunately we just don't get enough time to spend with them, and a lot of the story feels more like Cliff Notes and races to the end of the game's 6-hour runtime. The first mission then sees you play for a TIE fighter factory, traveling through the many areas of the ship until you reach the top to battle Ram Kota. Immediately, this feels like Star Wars. After being stuck in trade negotiations for the last 6 years on the big screen, finally being able to see an Imperial ship littered with stormtroopers and TIE fighters was pretty freaking sweet, dude. Whilst the level is quite fun to explore, it immediately highlights one of the game's first major issues, which is the levels are just too long and repetitive. They act as more of a sandbox for you to try out all your abilities, but they can get pretty tedious. Although to stop the combat from getting too stale, there are upgrades you can get, as well as unlocking new abilities and combos. Also, whilst exploring, you will encounter holocrons, which can contain temporary combat buffs, ability points, as well as some snazzy collectibles like lightsaber crystals and costumes. Speaking of which, I have the Ultimate Sith Edition that includes all DLC, and I tell you, it's about time 3PO got treated with some respect.
I've just about had enough of you. Be malfunctioning within a day of this at its scrap pile.
Anyway, after Starkiller makes it through the factory, you encounter Jedi Ram Kota. And after chucking him around a bit, he reveals to you that Vader won't always be your master. In fact, it will be him. You then blind him and send him hurtling towards his death. What I don't get is that Jedi fall literally all the time, and sometimes it kills them, whereas other times they're just fine. Like, what are the rules here? Come on, George, stop adding the to the script and sort it out. After that first mission, you are then quickly sent on another assignment, this time to hunt down Jedi Kazdan Paratus, who was hiding away on the junk planet. See what I did there? It's the junk planet. That's the name of my channel. See, it's funny. It's good humor, right? Hiding away on the junk planet, Raxus Prime. Shortly after landing, you are introduced to Force Lightning. You can now Colmograph it up and fry Jawas to your heart's content. This planet has more variety than the first level, although these Force enemies, kind of stinky. Not gonna lie, getting ragdolled around kind of breaks the immersion of me being this all-powerful Force user. I forgot to mention the mini-bosses have some QuickTime events to finish them off, because, well, it was 2008. Everything needed a QuickTime event. Getting in the shower needed a QuickTime event. Soon you get to the Jedi, and after a surprisingly frustrating boss fight, you take him out. Next, Starkiller and the gang proceed to Felucia to kill Shaak Ti for the third time. Seriously, Shaak Ti had died so many times on screen, but none of them are actually canon. Girl even died in the Lego game. Shaak Ti is chilling on the planet from Avatar with Maris Brood, who is definitely not evil. No evil to see here, guys.
Move along.
This level is definitely one of the better ones. It has a lot of verticality and some really awesome enemy designs. I love how Luke had tried to fight a Rancor by putting a bone in its mouth, while Starkiller impales it in the head twice, zaps it with lightning, cuts its legs, and then its throat. Who's the real protagonist here? Can someone enlighten me, please? You then fight Shaak Ti in an awesome boss fight. Just look how freaking cool this is. This is really enhanced by the music as well. I can't be asked to look up the composer, but whoever did it did a good job. Give yourself a good old pat on the back, please. Shaak Ti is then killed, and a blue laser shoots in the sky. I'm not sure why that is, but Starkiller is then left a bit lost as Shaak Ti implies to him that the path he is on won't always be so. Our boy has just wiped out all the Jedi on his tick list, and Darth Vader repays him in the most Darth Vader way possible. He stabs him and he chucks him into space. But yeah, seriously, that's what happens. The Emperor learns of Starkiller's existence, and Vader executes him in order to prove his loyalty to the Emperor. However, a droid then brings Starkiller back to a ship and brings him back to life. Last Jedi haters, please don't kill me. But this game did it first. You'll be complaining about Leia, but your boy Starkiller had the old Mary Poppins treatment first. Starkiller is understandably pretty miffed about all this, and is further confused on whether he's battling for the right team. Vader then tasks him with starting a rebellion against the Empire.
An army.
Yes, an alliance of rebels and dissidents. When these rebels have distracted the Emperor and his spies, we will strike.
This plan definitely won't backfire, Vader. No, why would creating your enemy backfire? Can't see that happening. The next mission is then on the ISS Empirical. The next mission is then on a big ship where you escape containment and need to rescue Juno Eclipse, the pilot love interest from Elliot. Forgive me if you've forgotten about that, so did I. This level is really short and simple, but it does introduce these droid stormtrooper things that are a pain in the ass to kill. Again, Mandalorian, Force Unleashed beat you to it. Starkiller, Proxy, and Juno then escape on the Rogue Shadow. Oh man, I really want that Lego kit back. Starkiller then goes ahead with Vader's plans and heads to Cloud City, where he suspects Ram Kota, from the first mission, may still be alive. Luckily, he is. Yet, he's blind now, which is quite convenient considering the guy who pushed him out of Starship is sat opposite him. The Empire then find you, and then your task is to escape yet again, This level is the shortest in the game and can take under 10 minutes to beat, so there really isn't much to say about it. It does introduce these new force-wielding enemies, meaning you have to focus on using melee attacks on them, which is a fun challenge. Kota then tells Starkiller that he has a contact in the Senate who could use his help and would most likely rally to his cause. Onward to Kashyyyk we go. Here is where the game takes a bit of a nosedive. From this point forward, you just revisit the planets you've already been to, except now the Empire has taken over. See, this sounds like a cool idea, being able to revisit the environment, but now things are different and you can see the effect the Empire has on the galaxy, except all it is an excuse to reuse assets. And it makes the game feel a lot shorter than it actually is. So, back to Kashyyyk, Felucia, and then Raxus Prime. These levels are pretty uninspired and lazy, so I'm gonna quickly go over them. On Kashyyyk, you help Princess Leia and Senator Organa free the Wookiees. Back on Felucia, big surprise, Maris Brood turned evil!
We've just embraced the power of the dark side.
Oh my god, who would have thought? Revisiting Raxus Prime is the most interesting of these three. Here there's a cool fight where you get to fight Proxy impersonating other famous Star Wars characters. When you fight Darth Maul, Duel of the Fates plays. And it fills my little fart. Dudes, it's really late and I'm editing this, and I just realized here I say it fills my little fart. I was supposed to say it fills my little heart, but I'm keeping fart in because I think we can all agree that is better. You then have to pull down a Star Destroyer out the sky. This sequence is pretty iconic. It's even on the back of the game box. However, it controls like ass. For years I never understood how to do it. I swear I'm following the on-screen instructions. As a kid I spent about an hour trying to do this one section, and eventually I gave up.
Blow that piece of junk out of the sky!
Luckily now I have a lot more patience, and after way too long I finally got the knack of it and ripped that destroyer out of the sky. We're nearing the end now. Starkiller gathers all the rebels together and uh-oh, Big Meanie shows up and again congratulates Starkiller by throwing a table at him. Obviously Starkiller didn't appreciate that and now truly hates Vader. So he travels to the Death Star to defeat him and the Emperor and free the rebels. And well, because these movies happened, I think we know how this is gonna go. The Death Star is the best level in the game. Has a ton of verticality, varied enemy design, and some cool sequences like having to avoid Death Star rays. There may be something wrong with me, but as a kid I would revel in force gripping stormtroopers and just holding them in the Death Star rays. I'll add that to the list of things to tell my therapist. Eventually, you get to Vader and fight him in a boss battle. Starkiller obviously annihilates him because he's literally God. Like, this guy is, you can't beat him. You're then given the choice to finish off Vader like the Emperor wants, or confront the Emperor himself. This determines which ending you get. The good ending is to fight the Emperor and free the rebels, but are consequently killed in the process, whereas the bad ending, you kill Vader, are mortally wounded, and brought back as a cyborg Sith like Vader himself. Guys, the design of Darth Starkiller is so freaking cool. The canon ending at the time was obviously the good version. The game then ends on the formation of the rebellion and leads into the events of A New Hope a few years later. The story is pretty short and the characters don't get a lot of time to develop, but it is an interesting tale nonetheless. Plus being able to play as Darth Vader's apprentice, not that one, see the beginning of the rebellion and to go toe to toe against your pal friend Patine is a pretty great time.
And your pal friend, Patine.
This isn't where the story necessarily ends though. The DLC, oh man, the DLC. The first mission is just an extra level that should have been in the game where you go to a Jedi temple, la da la la da. It's not a must play, but it's fun nonetheless and fleshes out Starkiller's turn to the light a bit more. But the real sweet spot of the package are the two alternate reality levels on Tatooine and Hoth. Both of which take place after the evil ending of the game, where you then get to play alternate versions of history, where Starkiller was there instead of Vader. And because, as we've learned, Starkiller is so much better than Vader, so much more powerful. On Tatooine, you get to go to Jabba's palace and kill Boba Fett, and then to Mos Eisley, where you get to kill Obi-Wan twice. First as an old man, and then as a Force ghost. I don't even know how that works, but it sounds so cool. In the Hoth level, you get to battle Luke, and in fact you turn him to the dark side, where he becomes your new apprentice. These levels are simply the best, and in my opinion are my favourite part of the game. I highly recommend playing them if you passed over them when they first came out. So that's it, The Force Unleashed. It's a little dated and the levels are too long and repetitive, but man is it a fun time. The Force powers at your disposal are yet to be matched by any other Star Wars game. Even Jedi Fallen Order, which came out 10 years later, didn't make you feel this powerful. It's a shame the game is no longer canon, as I really do like Starkiller, and I think his involvement with the start of the rebellion is really interesting and fills a cool gap in the timeline. But oh well, instead we have Rebels. Yay. So overall, I give The Force Unleashed a rating of
Still awesome.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. This is the first in a new series that I've been working on the past few weeks. This video has been a bit of a nightmare getting it out there. I've had so many technical problems with it. Like I had to re-record all the gameplay footage. Just everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. But it's finally here. And look forward to more episodes of Is It Still Awesome in the future. I know this video has been a bit of a change of pace to my usual content of just doing toy reviews, which I do love making. However, I did want to spice it up a little bit. This has been a video I've been wanting to make for ages, and I really enjoy making these types of videos. I love doing game reviews, film reviews, whatever. So this doesn't mean that action figure content is going away, not at all. That is still going to be going in full swing, but it will be less regular. It'll be more when there is a figure in that I really want to talk about, or that I know you guys would be interested in. For the foreseeable future, the Junk Planet upload schedule will be a bit more random. It will just be more of my interests. It will be junk. You know. But if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. If you like this video, there will be more game content coming soon. I've already got some stuff in the pipeline, and there is more action figure content on the way too. So please stay lovely, my darlings, and I'll see you soon.